In this video, we're going to look at cloning model data to allow us to create and generate copies of our model's properties in different locations. So this allows us to create clones of copied geometry and even loads in our model to help us reproduce this information without much effort. And we can generate these clones at either constant or variable spacing, depending on whatever the needs are for our geometry. And we can also produce these clones in either a translational array or a rotational array, depending on what it is we need. So we have a lot of interesting capabilities with this. We can generate cylindrical and spherical shapes. We can generate linear arrays of models. It's really up to us what we decide to do. We're going to go back to this same model that we had before. This is the one that we actually used for the merging example. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit first. One thing that we do want to be aware of is because these were two separate models, it doesn't hurt for us to just verify that everything is the way we want it to be represented. So looking at the section properties, you can see that those are inherited from our other model. The material properties, support conditions, you notice here actually we have supports at the top of our columns right now. These are actually from the original model that represented the truss, where it was a standalone truss model. So we don't need these supports at the top of the truss anymore. We can get rid of those. But I am going to add some fixed base at the bottom. And if we go into the settings, preferences dialog, underneath this interface tab here, we have an option, or a couple options here that say options applicable to geometry and load windows. Always preserve loads during element subdivision, and always copy loads during a paste operation. This is one that we're going to want to keep turned on. The reason being is that we have some loads already on this truss, and we want to copy them to the future copies that we make. Before I do anything else now, I just want to make sure that my entire model is copied to the clipboard, which I believe we've done before, but just to make sure, I'm just going to go select all, make sure everything is selected, and then go Control-C, or I can also go Edit and then Copy. And when something's been added to the clipboard, it's going to turn this red color, indicating to me that it's on the clipboard. I'm then going to use this tool right here. It says Clone multiple copies of clipboard contents. Well, we already know that those elements colored in red are our clipboard contents. And we want to clone multiple copies of this. So I'm going to right-click. And here I can go ahead and start defining my different clone tool properties. So I can choose between a translation or rotation generation method. I'm going to go with translation. And I'm going to clone this in the Y direction to make up basically a group of these frames. So for the first copy increment here, I'm going to enter the Y direction spacing to be 6 meters. And I can do another, in this case here, I'll do another 9 copies at 6 meter spacing as well. Now I could have just done 10 copies at 6 meters, but I want to show you how this works. Another option is that we can generate folders as well, and I can just call this frame. I'm giving the folder a base name so that each copy that it makes, it'll create a new folder with the contents of that copy. And now I can just press the OK button, and SFrame is going to generate these copies for me 6 meters apart from one another. And you notice here it's generating all these different folders as well. So I can look at frame number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And if we just select the entire structure and go to the loads window, I can toggle on the display of our loads here, and I can see that they're all copied as well. So I just toggled on the display of my member and joint loads. One thing you will notice here is that right now I still have this first frame colored in red, meaning that it's still part of the clipboard. If I'd like to clear my clipboard contents, all I need to do is unselect all, and then just go Control-C, and it's just going to copy whatever is selected, which in this case is nothing, so it's going to clear the clipboard contents. And there are other good videos on how this tool works for rotational arrays and so on that you can find under the Help menu, online resources.